3 million units sold. And the U.S. Open tennis tournament now underway in New York City with its biggest prize money ever, $53 million. Tom Busby, CNBC.
At Simple Mobile, you get the no contract advantage. Unlimited talk and text plus 3 gigabytes of high-speed data for $25 a month with no mystery fees and no activation fees ever. Just $25 a month on a lightning-fast 4G LTE nationwide network and no contract. That's our best deal ever. Buy yours now at nationwide retailers like Best Buy or at Simple Mobile dealers. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
A month equals 30 days. Limited time offer ends 9/30/18. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at simplemobile.com.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
There's a common thread I see every time I'm in the field.
While this was burning, you were saving other homes.
Neighbors helping neighbors, and strangers alike.
No official first responders here, just volunteers going in and bringing folks out.
This is what America's about.
Sometimes it's nice to see all the good that's out there.
We have seen it in community after community after community.
Watch NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, evenings on NBC.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. President Trump notes differences on policy and politics, but says he respects Senator John McCain's service to the U.S. In a statement today, Trump said he signed a proclamation that the American flag be flown at half-staff until the day of his internment. Trump also asked Vice President Mike Pence to speak at a ceremony honoring McCain at the U.S. Capitol Friday. Trump is not invited to McCain's memorial service at the Washington National Cathedral on Saturday. Senator McCain is leaving the nation with a parting letter. The Arizona senator died Saturday, but made sure to leave a letter detailing his love for the country. Today, a McCain associate read the letter in Phoenix. In it, McCain acknowledged mistakes, but said he hopes that his love for America will be weighed against them. President Trump is cheering a new trade deal with Mexico. The two sides have been working to renegotiate NAFTA, which Trump has called disastrous for the U.S.
They used to call it NAFTA. We're going to call it the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. We'll get rid of the name NAFTA. It has a bad connotation because the United States was hurt very badly by NAFTA.
In an announcement at the White House today, Trump called it a big day for trade. Police are still looking into the motive in yesterday's shooting at a video game tournament in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 people were killed and several others were injured in the attack.
Video surveillance footage from inside the restaurant clearly shows that this is a single shooter incident and that the suspect took his own life after shooting the victims.
Jacksonville Sheriff Mike Williams added that David Katz was armed with 2 guns and extra ammunition, but appears to have used only one of the guns in the shooting. The FBI and ATF are participating in the investigation. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 259 points to close at 26,049. The Nasdaq rose 72 points to 8017. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
News on KCAA is brought to you by Ontario International Airport. What's one of the easiest things to do in Southern California? Fly nonstop from Ontario International Airport. Now you can fly direct to Guadalajara, Taipei, and Orlando, and soon to New York. The SoCal So Easy way. Ontario International Airport. SoCal So Easy.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Caravella. Just wanted to let you know that KCAA has a new listener line for all of you that have a phone. Now you can listen to KCAA in the grocery store, in the doctor's office, or when you want to pretend you're on the phone with someone just so that creeper will leave you alone. Call 720-835-3099 today and listen to your favorite KCAA radio shows. That number again, 720-835-3099. KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no caller or listener behind.
Listen to KCAA Loma Linda for less confrontation and more information.
The views of the following show are not necessarily the views of broadcast management or its owner, Fred Lundgren. But then again, the views of broadcast management are, well, different. And now it's time for On the Mark Live with host Mark Westwood. Finally, a show about KCAA. Hot topics, a little locomotion, current events, news, laugh, reviews, and a little irreverence. And you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And Brandon will turn the volume up here very shortly here. Hello, Brandon. Maybe come over to the Behringer and adjust the volume up a little bit too on the Behringer, Brandon. maybe volume up a little bit. I'm talking right now. We are broadcasting live from our brand new studios, which means we are also having brand new technical difficulties. And I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Maybe I hear better now. There we go. All right, we are here. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube or Hulu or Tiki Live or on our website, you'll notice that we have some brand new surroundings around us. Just this past weekend, we made the move from the front part of the building back to another section of our building, and we are in brand new studios, the new NBC KCAA broadcast studios here from Redlands, California, broadcasting live. I'm Mark Westwood for On the Mark, and we've got a guest we're going to have in just a little while. You'll notice Mike Safey is going to be here. We're going to be talking about his business, and then also we're going to be talking about a new candidacy he has. But I'm going to take time for a minute to pause and reflect, as everybody in our nation is doing right now. And, you know, this is a sad time for our nation, a time that we bow our heads, maybe say a prayer in reverence and respect. We lost a great senator, and you might find this kind of a rare opportunity for the vice chair of the San Diego County Democratic Party to be praising a Republican. But in this case, I'm going to. And, you know, he's not running for anything. He was a former presidential candidate in 2008. Senator John McCain, as we know, has passed away. We were expecting it. I didn't expect it so soon. It didn't seem like it was going to happen that quickly, but it went pretty quickly. I have a little choke up in my throat, too. You know, he was a good man. And everybody should take pause and note of that. I particularly have a debt of gratitude to John McCain. Personally, as many know, I have a LPFM radio station that I chair called KQLH 92.5. It's fully supported by this radio station and its owner, Fred Lundgren, and I'm very thankful for that. But I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for John McCain. I would not have it. John McCain was an advocate and a sponsor of the Local Community Radio Act, and many people back in 2013, 2010 were working on this, and Senator John McCain and Senators Maria Cantwell, along with Representatives Mike Dole of the House of Representatives, a Democrat, and Lee Terry. It was a bipartisan bill. It's called the Local Community Radio Act, and it did a great thing for radio. There were some people in radio that took pause for a minute and said, oh, no, this is going to be bad for radio. It's going to clutter up the airwaves. Well, LPFM and the Local Community Radio Act has done just the exact opposite. It's brought the people of the community back to the airwaves, and it's got people continuing to listen to radio as people listen to KQLH, and I've witnessed over and over and over again now, very proud of the fact that a lot of people are tuning in and liking it, that it's local and it's community. It's said that a town without a community radio station is like a town without a library, and that was said by Pete Tritish of the Prometheus Radio Project, who praised John McCain, also not exactly a conservative group. They've been highly critical of President Trump. But this radio advocacy group called the Prometheus Radio Project, along with people all over the nation, including Michi Bradley, a local community radio advocate that's well known, an engineer, very well respected by the FCC, all praise John McCain because of his work on the Local Community Radio Act. And if it wasn't for the Local Community Radio Act and Senator John McCain, there would not be a KQLH or over 2,000 community radio stations across the United States. So I take pause, excuse me, that I need to reflect and respect John McCain. And he was a man of his own convictions. John McCain, John Sidney McCain III, born August 29th, 1936. A long time ago. Died on August 25th. Politician well known. He ran against President Obama in 2008. And man of such conviction, of such character, that even in the face of losing possibly, and he did, a presidential election, he stopped a woman who was berating President Obama as not being born in the United States, as being an Arab, and being highly critical in public. And John McCain said, now, wait a minute. That's not true. That's not how we talk. And that's not what we do as Americans. And I really respected him for that. You know, he's been senator in Arizona. He was preceded by the one and only Barry Goldwater. That's how long Senator John McCain served. Chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee. and also chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee. Highly active with radio and media and television. Chairman of the Senate Commerce Committee. It just goes on and on of what he did. As he was as a president of the United States. By the way, he was born, in Panama, in Coco Solo, in the Panama Canal. And, that wasn't a state. It was a territory, and then later on it became an independent territory. But, he was another person that they could have accused of not being born in the United States, but was running for president of the United States. He was a Congressional Bronze Star Medal of Honor winner, a former presidential candidate who was also a prisoner of war and served the United States and served his country by being also a prisoner of war, and had a highly decorated military career from 1936 to 1981. He served up until 1981 and was commanding officer liaison to the Senate, and secondly, he then became a senator himself and served many, many years as in the Senate. And, despite our differences on policy and politics, I respect Senator John McCain in his service to the country, and we honor and respect and remember him. And I also have to take this time to say that I also criticized the president for the bouncing flag in front of the White House. It's the only way it can be described. I don't know what he was thinking. Senator McCain and President Trump haven't exactly saw eye to eye on a lot of things. And Senator McCain made it known and called the president out on quite a few things. And I don't know whether the president's jealous or whatever, but he left the flag at half-mast for only 48 hours. And, Senator McCain is going to lay in state in the Arizona state capitol for a day, and then following that will be laying in state in the United States Senate in the Congressional Rotunda. And then we'll have a national funeral. And, highly regarded. He will be highly respected by people throughout Washington, D.C. And, a shame on the president for raising the flag. That flag needs to be lowered. And he did lower it finally again this afternoon. Just this afternoon, late in Washington, D.C., the flag returned to its half-mast position that had been raised since Sunday again. Just a terrible thing for the president to do. Mainly, people were just protesting everywhere. The press was protesting everywhere. Everybody was protesting the president for doing that, including the American Legion, which was one of those that was criticizing the White House, what they called lapse. How could you lapse on doing something like that? Somebody has to make the decision to raise that flag again. The Arizona Republican, whose relationship with the president just hasn't been very good, but despite that, he served a long tenure in the United States Senate, in the United States military. He deserves deep respects, and we do not need to be doing that. The president's not going to attend the funeral himself, which he should. He's sending Vice President Pence and General John Kelly and Secretary James Mattis to the funeral, but he will not be attending it himself. It just shows you what kind of a small man President Trump is, and that, even in death, the president has to make something political rather than being respectful to his family, being respectful to the service of John McCain. I wondered this is bad, but I feel it and I think it, and I'm going to share it with you. If his last name was Putin, I think the president might have just mourned him a little bit longer. And shame on you, President Trump, but, it's not anything new. That's what the president does. But, tributes for McCain are going to be throughout the next few days, and the president just ruled himself out of it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Raised the flag up. It should have been at half-mast. But people are lauding President, I keep saying President McCain, Senator McCain, for his courage, his honor, his decency, his character, his readiness to re-examine his own mistakes at any time. He was a person that wasn't afraid to say, hey, maybe I need to rethink that. Maybe I was wrong. In every shape or form, he was a great American. And he didn't need to make great again. He was a great American already. The ceremonies marking McCain's passing seem to be becoming more like a president and being more highly regarded as a president. In fact, I think that's why Trump is so jealous. It's because, well, if the Republicans were looking for a leader, if they were looking for somebody to admire and respect, and as an example, it would certainly be better that they look towards McCain instead of a president who's about to be indicted, possibly, who may be impeached shortly, whose lawyer, Cohen, has admitted readily that McCain was using political campaign money to cover up his, I guess the best way to say, Madam's affair that he had. It's just such a shame that the man couldn't grow bigger than that and honor him. Barack Obama and George W. Bush, former presidents, who kept him from the White House, who ran against him, who beat him. Yes, George W. Bush secured the nomination of the Republicans before Barack Obama defeated him in 2008. They eulogized him, and they, the president won't be attending his funeral, but in normal circumstances, a president could be expected to issue a fulsome written statement to mark the passing of such an important political figure. Trump simply wrote a tweet, and it wasn't too great. It says the members of his immediate family praised McCain's character and contribution, but he did not. That's what he said. He did not. Stay out of it. If you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. I think that my dad, who was a full-time career military person, and my mother, both religious people, spiritual people, dedicated, devout Catholics, both said that to me as I was growing up. If you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all. The president should be advised to keep that, but he really didn't do that. McCain services will be at the National Cathedral, and it may become the biggest meeting of political establishment visiting global elites so far during Trump's presidency. So we salute Senator John McCain in his service and the man he was, and we give our highest condolences to his family and myself personally. I thank John McCain for what he did for radio and making radio remain relevant and grow and expand, and to bring local community radio to the United States airwaves. And it wasn't for John McCain and Senator Maria Cantwell, that wouldn't have happened. And like it was very well said, a town without a local community radio station is like a town without a library. And that's so very, very important to remember. And thank you, John McCain. Thank you for your service. We salute you, and we'll always remember you as a great senator. This is Mark Westwood for KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. We'll be back right after this.
You've been listening to On the Mark Live with Mark Westwood, a show about KCAA, the world, and you, with more to come in a moment.
Tim Conway's Medical Care Battle. This is your entertainment wrap-up for NBC News Radio. I'm Andrew Caravella. Sad news out of Hollywood today. Tim Conway's wife and daughter are fighting over his medical care as he battles dementia. According to People, the 84-year-old Carol Burnett show star's daughter, Kelly, is asking to be appointed conservator of her father and be in charge of his medical treatments, according to court documents obtained by People and first reported by The Blast. Now, Kelly, who's 56, filed the documents in Los Angeles on Friday, claiming Conway's wife, Charlene, is planning to move him out of the excellent skilled nursing facility he is currently at and place him in one that won't give him access to registered nurses at all times and his 24-hour care and speech therapist to help him with swallowing. Conway won a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor for The Carol Burnett Show, on which he has best been known for characters including The Oldest Man and Mr. Tudball. Conway's other TV credits include guest appearances on Married with Children, Mad About You, Glee, 2.5 Men, and Mike and Molly. Now in other news, Disney's Netflix competitor is going to be called Disney Play. According to a report by Variety, the service, which has previously been referred to as Disney Flix, will be giving up about $300 million in annual revenue it currently gets from Netflix for paid TV rights to its theatrical releases. Disney will make TV series based on their films, such as Monsters, Inc. and High School Musical. There are also discussions to bring a return of the Muppets, as well as new originals in the Marvel Universe. Disney confirmed that Marvel's current original shows on Netflix will stay with the streaming service. It It is expected that Fox's shows like The Simpsons will remain on Hulu, of which Disney is now the majority owner of. Disney's competitor, Netflix, is expected to spend $8 billion next year on just content alone. And that's your entertainment wrap-up for NBC News Radio. I'm Andrew Caravella. Success Partner presents the all-new Yucaipa and Cala Mesa Morning Market, located on the corner of County Line Road and California Street in the city of Yucaipa. This all-new neighborhood farmers market is open from 8 a.m. to noon on most Saturdays and carries some of the freshest produce in the Inland Empire. The Yucaipa and Cala Mesa Morning Market, now open on most Saturdays at 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. More information at 909-222-9293. That number again is 909-222-9293 or email successpartner@live.com. The all-new Yucaipa and Cala Mesa Morning Market, now open on most Saturdays in Yucaipa. Presented by Success Partner.
And now it's time to batten down the hatches, because here comes more of Mark Westwood and On the Mark Live. 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And we're back with another segment of On the Mark with Mark Westwood. I occasionally do community service things. I do interviews with people about their community projects, about what's good for our area. And I also do political interviews and business interviews. And today we're going to do both. I have with me a friend and a candidate. His name is Mike Safey, and he's running for Redlands City Council. I first met Mike, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
That's right. About almost 7 years ago.
About 7 years ago. I am vice chair of the county Democratic Party, and I actually have been that for quite a few years. And I was second vice chair for a while, and the third vice chair, and then back to first vice chair again. And during that time, my tenure, I have worked with Mike quite a bit, and I seem to have a changing voice timbre here. Thank you, Brandon. Anyway, he's deepening my voice, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why he's doing that, but okay. We're getting used to our new studios. So if you just joined us and you're just looking behind, you go, wow, that really looks different. That doesn't look like the KCAA I used to know. That's because we remodeled and we added a new studio, and we're adding a couple more studios and expanding, and we'll talk about more of that expansion in another time. But I did want to talk to Mike Safey about his next campaign, which, is just always right around the corner, it seems like. Mike is running for Redlands City Council. You've run before.
That's right, Mark. And once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity and inviting me to your great studio. By the way, I just love your new studio. It's great.
Thank you.
I definitely love it.
It's only going to get better. It's a finished product. It's not a finished product yet. We're working on it. Mike, so tell us, you've run before for Redlands City Council. I think twice before, right?
That's correct. No, I ran 3 times. This is
3 times.
Right.
This is your 4th time.
It's a 4th time. Just keep going.
Well, congratulations on your tenacity and wanting to run. And, somebody who wants to run for city council in Redlands, you must have a good passion and something about Redlands, right?
That's right. And you simply get better. You keep getting more and more votes, and then you meet more and more people and talk about the vision for the city. And it just enlightens you that how many people are there who wants to get involved and want to be part of this great city and city politics. And it's simply just they don't know they're city council members.
So last time you ran, you got within, I think it was like 140 votes?
That's right. So those were like more about 140 handshakes, I would say that. So
yeah, it's always hard when you run. It's hard. It's easy when you lose by a landslide. It's like, well, it wasn't meant to be.
That's right.
But when you get so close, it's like, oh, how many more hands could I have shaken, or babies could I have kissed, or whatever you want to say on that. But the truth of the matter is you were running against a couple of incumbents. And that was a tough thing it was only 2 seats, I believe that they were running. And one was from a beloved lady that was running, and she actually subsequently passed away.
She did. Our former mayor of Redlands, Pat Gilbreth.
And she was well known and beloved here in the city of Redlands. That was a tough thing to run against, and then another guy that so it was tough. You didn't get in, but you got very, very, very close. And congratulations on getting that close, and then having the courage to say, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to run again. And Mike, tell us, if you were elected to City Council of Redlands, what would be your first thing, your task, your biggest thing you'd like to accomplish? Because that's usually, by the way, the last thing you finally get to accomplish after a long tenure. But go ahead.
Right. Well, Redlands is a very dynamic city. It's growing quite fast. And then Redlands is usually known to be as a bedroom community. But with the companies like Esri, and we are so close to Loma Linda, so business is growing in with the Citrus Grove, and then we have a packing house project coming in. So definitely there's more and more jobs coming into City of Redlands. Now, when in terms to talking about what should be the priorities, of course the priority is the safety of our citizens, the safety of people who do business, who come and do business, and who lives in the city. So that means making sure that our public safety is my priority number one. So it's well funded and well taken care of, because these people put their life on the line, and they go and protect us. So I just want to make sure.
Our firefighters and our
police and firefighters.
Emergency
That's
services,
correct.
our first responders. Yeah.
So that is my priority number one, to make sure they're fully funded.
Now, Mike, you're involved a little bit with the police or something like that. I think not in a bad way, I guess. You haven't been elected yet. No, just kidding. But aren't you on the Citizens Patrol or something like that?
Well, I'm an applicant on the Citizens Patrol. That's correct, for Redlands Police Department. I'm working, and then it's in the progress. So I will be one of the volunteers. So if I'm coming, checking on your doors, and if you see me driving around within the city of Redlands, that will be, yes, me. So I am part of that. But besides that, I am involved with the law enforcement. So I technically represent Inland Empire on a committee which is committee involved with FBI and Los Angeles Police Department, and we meet every 3 months, and we do all the intelligence assessments. So I do go and do that work also on behalf of Inland Empire.
So you want a safer community because, first of all, I guess it's important to everybody. It's important for you. You're a dad, right?
I'm a father. Yeah, I'm a father of 3 kids. So my oldest is 14 and the youngest is 5.
Mm-hmm. I ran into you at Denny's not too long ago down there at 9th West Redlands Boulevard or Orange Street. I think it's just right there in the corner of Citrus, rather, and Redlands Boulevard. And everybody knows that Denny's. I ran into you, and I got to intermingle with your kids and your wife. She's a very nice lady. And your oldest son was laughing at me. Yeah, because you asked me, you're a businessman and you own some Del Tacos up in Stockton or Fresno, and you said, "Hey, Mark, you want to come to Fresno with me?" And I said, "Why in the would I want to go to Fresno?" And your son overheard me and just started busting up laughing, and I figured, wow, that's pretty funny.
Well, I think you nailed it when I was asking you, let's go to Fresno and spend a weekend with me, and your reply was like a little bit more. Say, well, you're asking me to hang out in San Bernardino?
Oh, no. You were supposed to say that part. You got me. We had a little crackling going on there, Brandon. I have to check that out.
I understand. Well, this is in a positive way. Look at San
Bernardino.
It was a positive way that San Bernardino yet still have to offer people to come and enjoy weekends in city of San Bernardino. What is in there? Carousel Mall is closed, and so city council and city itself needs to develop something. So people in surrounding cities, they say, well, you know what? It's a fun place to be in San Bernardino. I love San Bernardino City. I worked in that city.
I grew up in San Bernardino.
A long time.
I want San Bernardino to be. Don't mistake this, folks, for me being hypercritical of San Bernardino. I have San Bernardino in all my degrees and high school diploma and everything else. Right. I want that city to thrive and blossom and prosper again.
Same here. I mean, it's a great city. It's a corridor to your east, west, north, south. You don't want to go through Vegas. You stop by in San Bernardino. So I think it has to offer something like Victoria Gardens of San Bernardino, something like that.
Good jobs. Starts with good jobs.
Starts with good jobs.
Good schools. You need to take care of the basics first.
And safety.
Yeah, and safety. Those kinds of things, which probably transfer into what your campaign is for the city of Redlands. Like, for instance, I hate to bring it up, but Redlands has this big downtown closed mall, too. And it's a problem down there, and it's blight. And I know that they've got some kind of a development project for it, but it's just not happening. I don't know. What's going on with that? Do you know?
Well, I think there should be a mix. As far as I know, my last information I received, it is some developer coming in, and he's going to develop a little high-rise in there. But I still believe that it should be for mixed use. So you will have some condos in there, and at the bottom you will have some more businesses where people can go shop.
So you support the ideas that they're bringing forward?
I definitely support the idea of having a sustainable growth. But at the same time, if you bring a high-rise, then what about the traffic? I mean, the city streets are not widened enough coming into through the exit. That means it's going to bring more traffic and long in and out exit time on the freeways. So we have to consider all that too. So once I'm elected city council member, then definitely I will be looking and talking to our planning department and see what's on the table. And my goal is transparency. My goal is to inform public. I mean, once you're elected official, it's not my decision. It's collectively, I want to bring all the citizens on the table and then let them know that this is what we are thinking, what do you think, and make a collaborative decision by involving everyone.
Absolutely. You know, there's a new light rail project that's going to be going about 500 feet away from this where you sit right now, believe it or not. We might be able to hear train whistles in our studio in about 2 years. There's a new train going from San Bernardino, light rail train, the transit project there, all the way up here into University of Redlands, I believe, and turning around and going back. But one of the train stops is right up here on Orange Street. It's not going to stop by our mall, Tri-City Center, but it's. Do you support rail projects like that?
You know what? Rail. As long as the rail project is connected to some other stations where people can hop in and perhaps maybe change a train and then takes them to downtown Los Angeles.
Intermodal, yeah.
Intermodal, which means it has to be connected. It has to add a value to it. It shouldn't be just a joyride. Otherwise, all day, all you're going to see is the homeless people going to come in, and most probably Orange Street is our last stop. This is what I have seen in Chicago. This is what I have seen in New York. This is what I have seen in Vancouver. Your last stop becomes a dump place for your homeless people. They ride all day long, and they just get off, and they stay until
And we
the
shouldn't
next day.
dump our homeless. You know, I think in the United States, they're seeing more and increasing in that because housing is becoming unaffordable. You know, when an apartment that, rents, it's a 700 square foot apartment, it rents for, $1,500–1,600 a month. Or, homes are $300,000 for a simple 1,200 square foot house. We have to do something about that. And, on the local community level, it's a little bit difficult. There's state laws that govern it and federal laws that govern it. But at the same time, each community has to take care of its homeless. Redlands has over 1,200 homeless people. Are you ready for this? In their schools.
So when you talked about the priorities, so if you see my candidate statement, I have put this as my second priority to handle. Definitely, the city of Redlands has seen its growing share of homeless people, and then how do you address? Do you build more shelters, and or do you build more?
Because that is a public
homes?
Safety issue.
It becomes it becomes hand in hand. So I know that there's Redlands PD has a new person named Marcy. I just don't remember her last name. She is liaison between and handling about the homelessness in Redlands. But again, it's all about resources and how much funding the city has. I mean, it's all about the money. Again, bottom line is how
Actually,
much.
Redlands has been doing a remarkable job at taking care of homeless people, really, and addressing their concerns. But they need to do better, like everybody else does better.
That's right. But again, before it becomes out of hand, and then there are more and more homeless. I mean, we are seeing it. I'm seeing it more and more homeless, especially in downtown core. So what are we going to do to give them a sustainable way of getting them back to the life? So that means we have to give them some sort of a place where they can go and take a shower and clean themselves up. And then if they need some services, if it's health issues or mental issues, then county. So you must have a very good relationship with your public social services within the county department, and hand in hand you work with your county resources, and you take those homeless people and then put them in sort of in parallel with what are their needs, and you match their needs with the county services. And county has those specific funds because they receive a lot of funds from the state, and they receive a lot of funds from federal government also. So public social services usually have about $2 to $3 billion funding.
Yeah, and homelessness doesn't know boundaries, by the way. It doesn't recognize city boundaries. So as I'm looking at maybe possibly a future council person, a member of the city of Redlands, I'd like to offer this one thing that maybe you could lead in developing a partnership with the surrounding cities, and that we have to address this all together. Mike, if you Google the word homelessness, and you click on images, all across the United States, Seattle, Tacoma, Las Vegas, San Diego, it's a problem everywhere. But locally in our community and the Inland Empire, we need to develop a partnership. And I didn't mean to nail you too much on that. That's not something as a candidate you can do a lot about,
Right.
but it's we want to get a feel for your idealism on it. And it sounds like you've got a good hold on it. You've identified the problems and you know the issues, and it seems like you've got a heart on the matter, so I commend you for that. Now, as a businessman in the city of Redlands, you've done a lot. You're a local businessman or a businessman that resides locally here in Redlands. You chiefly have Del Tacos, is that?
That's right. I started my business. Well, I've been owning a business for the last 15, 20 years on and off, but the biggest opportunity came in 2013, 4 or 5 years ago, when I purchased some Del Tacos in Central California. And then I expanded from owning one, then owned the second one. And then I also have some businesses here locally in Riverside area.
Oh, okay. And you just stepped out of the offices at Riverside County.
That's right. So I've been in public social services. I have been doing forensic investigation with them. My last day was last month with them, because I want to focus on my race and city council, and hopefully I'll get elected. And then I wanted to create more time on behalf of our citizens. So yes, I have been with San Bernardino County, and then recently with Riverside County.
And what were you doing for the county?
So I was in forensic investigations for public social services. Which is part of the CPS, Child Protective Services, adult abuse, adult services, public social services comprise of your welfare fraud, and then my last assignment was the records retention, and where I was the custodian of the highly confidential records of over $3 million, including adoptions and welfare fraud and all that kind of active investigations. Very honorable position.
Yeah, and a lot of responsibility there to make sure those are all handled right and taken and made confidential, I imagine, and kept in order and all that. That's a big job. Mike's had a lot of big jobs, working for various different government agencies, and recently you were very proud of yourself, and I saw the pictures on Facebook in your graduation cap and gown. You just got a degree recently, right?
That's correct. So driving around, I saw a billboard, "Live Your Purpose," and it was a California Baptist University billboard. And I said, you know what, I always wanted to finish my master's. So I have an incomplete master's from Cal State LA, and then I started at San Bernardino, but I never finished it. And that was one of the purpose which I want to accomplish in my life. So even having 3 kids and wife, and my mother stays with me, by the way, she's a retired judge.
All those businesses, yeah.
And all those businesses, I said, nope, I'm going to live my purpose. I'm going to complete. So I'm a very proud alumni now. Graduated in honors from California Baptist University in public administration with public policy and organizational leadership.
So we've been speaking with Mike Safey. He's a candidate for the Redlands City Council, a businessman locally here. It's spelled S-A-I-F-E-E, Mike Safey. He's run for city council before. You may have seen his name around. Is kind of a moderate, centrally philosopher of politics, I guess you have to say. And Mike is well known in the community, served in various different capacities in different committees and commissions and things like that, has a passion for Redlands, and now he's going to gear up and he's going to do a campaign. So tell us a little bit about this campaign, because you have about 72 days, I think it is, before the election. Lots of ground to cover. And what are your plans?
That's right. So right now I'm a candidate in District 3. So Redlands recently became a district. So this is the first district-wide election, and I believe when principal leadership and experience matter, then I am one of the best choices for City of Redlands. with master's degree in public administration, 20 years of experience in public administration and public safety. And currently, I'm a small business owner with about 100 employees.
Just not some guy off the street, then, huh?
You've
That's
been
right.
listening to On the Mark Live
excuse
with Mark
me.
Westwood.
1 second. Thank you, our engineers, once again. They're working in the studio right now.
Well, it's right. I mean, when you're writing a payroll and you have 100 employees every 2 weeks, even you have to give salary, you have to be a very responsible person and responsible businessman. But at the same time, it gives you a lot of experience and a lot of energy, and you really know how to run a responsible business. And I think that will show when I'm elected city council. It will show that how to run a responsible government as well.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be back in just a little bit. We're going to talk some more with Mike Safey. We're going to go to a break, and we'll continue on with Mike and about his candidacy. And before we go to the break, just in case people aren't back when we get back, is there a way to contact you in order to get involved in your campaign?
That's right. So there are two ways. I have a very open door and open policy. You can call me anytime, and you can email me. So Mike Safey, MikeSaifie at yahoo.com. That's my generic email. You guys can email me 724, and I'm usually very good replying within 24 hours. Or simply text me, or if you want to call me, you can call me. So my personal cell is 909-708-1070. And I want to hear from all my constituents who are listening, that what are your priorities and what you want me to accomplish. And again, I want to involve everyone into this campaign, and I want to continue to be their voice in our council. Because, Mark, one thing, constituents' opinions matters.
Absolutely. Because they make the vote, and they're the ones we're working for, and they're the ones you're going to be serving. We're going to continue on more with Mike Safey after our commercial break here. I'm Mark Westwood with On the Mark on 106.5, 102.3, and 1050 a.m., the trifecta of talk in the Inland Empire.
You've been listening to On the Mark Live with Mark Westwood, a show about KCAA, the world, and you, with more to come in a moment.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Richard Jordan. The American flag at the White House is back to flying at half-staff. It was lowered following the death of Senator John McCain and raised again less than 48 hours later. Senate leaders pushed to have all flags at all government buildings at half-staff through Sunday. Meanwhile, the Arizona senator delivered some thinly veiled criticism of President Trump in a letter to the nation. McCain wrote, "Do not despair of our present difficulties, but believe always in the promise and greatness of America, because nothing is inevitable here." Former McCain campaign manager Rick Davis shares more.
We weaken our greatness when we confuse our patriotism with tribal rivalries.
McCain encouraged Americans to tear down walls, not hide behind them. President Trump describes a new trade deal with Mexico today as a big day for trade and a big day for the U.S. And Odell Beckham Jr. signs an extension with the New York Giants, making him the highest paid wide receiver in football. Richard Jordan, NBC News Radio.
I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. Most people have been watching the stock market go up, up, and up. There's one problem. When you get out, most people don't get out in time. Well, I've solved that. With my video stock program, I pick the stock, put it on the video, tell you when to get in and when to get out. Join my video program.
Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Been very happy with the results on 2018. I'm up over about 15% for the year.
Phil has definitely kept me informed on a day-to-day basis on the ups and downs in the market.
I've been extremely happy with everything that they've done and afforded me by becoming a Phil's Gang member.
I would highly recommend joining Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, email CEO@KCAAradio.com. Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463.
And now it's time to batten down the hatches, because here comes more of Mark Westwood and On the Mark Live. 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And welcome back. Mark Westwood here with Mike Safey, a candidate for Redlands City Council, on this really kind of nice Monday. Temperature's not too hot. This is the first day of maybe autumn relief we have after that extremely scorching hot summer. Only about 82 degrees outside right now, and see a little bit of clouds in the sky. We're in a brand new studio. I just watched one of our new employees, not new, he's been here for about a month now. He's not even new anymore. Nick Lane walked in. He's going to take over here very soon, and he goes, wow. It's the first time we saw the studio. It's the first time a lot of you have seen the studio. Yes, these are our new NBC radio studios. We got more on the way. We've got a couple more we're working on in our KCAA Broadcast Media Services Media Center, Broadcast Management Media Center. It's going to be quite neat. Got some new programs coming on, all kinds of exciting things happening at KCAA. And it is political season, and it's an exciting time as we gear up for the 2000 midterm elections. Lots to be decided, lots of opinions coming our way. And, of course, we also have local elections. And, of course, a lot of the media is focused on, of course, the passing of Senator McCain, and while they should be, and, of course, the controversy in Washington, D.C. with a scandal-ridden president. That's what we have to say. But, we want to turn our emphasis locally, because we have local elections and school board reps and water board reps and city council and mayors to elect. And right here in Redlands, where KCAA moved to from the city of San Bernardino just about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary in Redlands, July 16th. And so we're a hometown radio station right here in Redlands now. So it only seems fitting that we talk to a Redlands candidate, Mike Safey, spelled S-A-I-F-E. Mike Safey is running for city council. He's run a few times before. He hasn't given up. He is a citizen here of the United States. We'll say that because some people say, oh, he's Muslim, he must not be a citizen. No, you can have Muslims that are citizens. In fact, he comes from a very distinguished background, a familiar background of people in his family who are Muslim, who have an origin in the Middle East but have been citizens here for a long time as well. Your mother was a judge?
That's right. She was an addition session judge. She served in the civil courts, and she's not retired now. She's staying with me. I have a brother who is in Marines.
So when your mother comes down the stairway, you go, here comes the judge.
Here comes. Well, I've been judged every minute by her eyes, right? So
that's funny. Yeah? And tell me more.
And then, yeah, that's right. And my grandmother, she was a retired teacher. She had a PhD in the 1960s. She got
which is remarkable for any woman in the United States, whether they're any religion, any race, to have a PhD.
Right. And the interesting story about my grandmother is that she's got a scholarship from University of Philippines in 1960, I believe 1963, and she went and got her PhD from there. And then she retired and lived on a fixed income, and so is my mother. And it's amazing that even though when you retire, 20 years ago or 30 years, literally 20 years ago, my grandmother, she recently passed away, but I saw her struggle, Mark, and I do see, even with the fixed income of my mother earning as a retired judge, there's still a struggle they have to make. And then earlier you mentioned the point that, with high costs and rents going out of control and there's no affordable housing. So I firsthand see the experience and know that how difficult it is for people who have a fixed income, and which takes a segue into one of my another priority as a council member once I get elected is roll back our water and trash rate hike, which I believe that it's unfair in terms of putting the high cost simply because tagging the high cost and saying that it was caused by the trucks.
So there was a recent tax or trash
trash rate hike was about 180%. Everyone bills almost got doubled, and you
That's
just
not small. That's
not small.
That's substantial.
So if you were paying about $150 or $200, now your bill is about $400 a month, and especially your fixed income didn't increase, your paycheck didn't go that high. So a lot of people in my district, District 3, are very, very concerned, and they want to get some relief. So definitely that's my priority number 3, and I want to look into it, and possibly working with other council members with increasing city revenues, if we can provide the relief for the basic services which city provides to its citizens, reducing or rolling back the water and trash rate hike. That will be my priority also.
Yeah, that's a good priority, and I think that's an extreme hike that they needed to rethink on. And gosh, that hurts people. That's how do they say that? That's not retroactive. That's recidive or something. But it's important that we have clean streets and people are make a decent living and we're compensated fairly. But at the same time, you have to make it so that it's affordable for people to have their trash removed, and that's kind of an extreme. 180%, I think, is pretty extreme. I agree with you on that one, Mike. That's a good thing to champion and campaign against. That's for sure. What do you think? Well, you got 3 kids in Redlands schools, don't you?
Yes, I have 3 kids. They all goes. One is goes to Rav. Second one is still at Moore Middle School. They all attend public schools.
You must have a freshman at Redlands East Valley. Is he a freshman?
She's a freshman. Yeah.
She's a freshman.
She's a freshman, and she's enjoying it.
Did I meet her the other night?
She was there. Yeah, she
was there. Okay.
She's a low key. She's a great daughter and always into her stuff.
Well, your son's so tall. I thought he was the oldest. He's not.
No, he's the middle child. So
he's the middle child.
He's middle child. So I expect him to be at least 6'4", 6'5".
Wow, he's going to be a basketball player then. Yeah.
He does play basketball.
And what grade's he in?
He's in 7th grade.
Seventh grade.
And he's the tallest kid in his class as well. So he surprises me. I have to buy his shoe every 3 months.
Yeah, he's got a picture of his family right in front of him. That must be your motivational spirit, huh?
I love my family, and so I believe that everyone loves their family, and that becomes the motivation. When I see the smile on my wife, and when she opens the door when I get back home, or my little young one, he wants to play, Dad, let's do a balloon fight. Before the bedtime, or a water balloon fight. So I say, okay, great, Mikhail. And family is such a great dynamic. When you see them, you live for them, you want to take care of them, and sort of they are your priority as well. You after all, you do work really, really hard for family, and the next thing is, once you become an elected official and elected city council member, then everyone is my family.
So you've been married how many years?
So I've been married for 14 years now.
14 years, so that's good. So unlike our president, you don't pay your campaign manager to pay off. Terrible. I couldn't resist that shot.
It's funny because when you talked about Trump, and I don't know, I was the first one, and this is a recorded history. I was the first one in the nation. I was attending DNC. Convention in Philadelphia.
The Democratic National Convention, the National Democratic Convention.
The National Democratic Convention.
You were elected a delegate from this area.
I was elected for delegate. I got the highest number of votes. I was the top vote getter in that election. Yeah, and second time in a row. And then I went and I was interviewed, and one of the questions was asked that if you meet Trump, or if you have to say one thing, what will you tell him? And then I offered him right there and then that. Look, I suspect his mental stability, and my offer is still valid, and it was on the record back then on the Hill magazine, that I will still pay wherever he wants to go in the world. Does not matter, he can go any psychologist and get his mental, he get evaluated mentally and see if he's still a stable person, and I am willing to pay 100% cost of his visit to a psychologist where he can be evaluated mentally.
Well, with these indictments now, and not indictments of him, but of Cohen and Manafort, who was his campaign chief, and also, Paul Manafort had to register as a foreign agent as a foreign agent. I don't know. He, how do you have that? And he was one of the first people that Mike Pence hired back in the days when Mike Pence was hiring for administration. Paul Manafort was the first person that hired into the Trump administration, and then he had to resign, and then subsequently he's been indicted, and he had to register as a foreign agent because he was working for a foreign government, and you have all these things and all these controversies as a president, and to go on record, congratulations as being one of the first people to doubt the president's mental stability, and now we're kind of finding out that maybe he has even a little dementia going along with it. It is a challenging time, let's say this. And I want to go on record as being the first person to say it here. And you heard it now. I predict if the president isn't impeached, he will be arrested. And that he may be arrested and taken out of office because you can't be a felon in the presidential wing before he's impeached. And the other thing is he can't get out of it because these are state offenses. This state political election fraud that he's doing, he may just be arrested before he's impeached.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, I believe there were 9 of his associates who have been indicted. Then how many indictments in Hillary Clinton, which he always profusely mentioned about her emails and anything else. But once you have a close associates and 9 of them have been indicted, I think as a person with basic common sense, you don't have to be smart, you don't have to have a PhD or master's degree, but just to simply have a common sense. Everyone knows that it's coming down, and it's going to go back.
OJ-style car chase. I predict the OJ-style car chase. He'll be running down the streets. See, folks, he can resign, and he can be impeached. He's not smart enough to resign. If he would smart and resign and do some sort of a deal, he might somehow get out of this. But the fact of the matter is he's not smart enough to do that. His own ego gets in the way. But Pence, as president, cannot pardon him for some of these offenses because they are not federal offenses, they're state offenses. And you can't pardon something that a state prosecutes. And so it just may be that we have the first president who's arrested.
I agree, Mark. And I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to serving.
We kind of got off on the Trump thing. That's easy for me to do. But I do want to thank you for coming. And thank you for being a good candidate. And I wish you the best of luck, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mark.
We've been speaking with Mike Safey, who is a candidate for Redlands City Council,
District 3,
and District 3. And by the way, he's kind of like let it leak what his political party affiliation is. And of course, you might think because he's against Trump, but there's a lot of Republicans the same way, including John McCain, who we're now honoring. So I want to thank you for being on our show and for being a good citizen. And it's been a pleasure working with you.
Great.
And of course, we wish you the best of luck. One parting sentence you might want to say from your candidate statement.
Well, once again, when principle, leadership, and experience matter, Mike Safey is your candidate. I'm looking forward to serve you with honesty, integrity, and in the best interest of our citizens in our city, and making sure that our city moves forward. And hope that I'll earn your trust and I'll get your vote.
So you're a father of 4?
Father of 3.
Father of 3, not 4 that you know, but father of 3.
Husband of 1.
Husband of, your wife's name, forgive me, is Sherry? Mary. Right. And a candidate for Redlands City Council, a member of the Democratic National Committee. He has a bachelor's degree in public administration.
I have a master's degree.
Master's degree in public administration, excuse me. Master's degree, just recently got that, and serves in various different capacities, commissions in the city of Redlands and around his town, and a employee up until recently when he chose to run for city council. He is not an employee now of Riverside, the county of Riverside, but also the San Bernardino County. And,
that's right.
He's worked